Alright, I'm going to explain how to make the custom UI for levels with fucked 2.2 percentages so you can do it and you don't have to harass people. I'm talking to you, Aeon Air. I'm kidding. So what you're going to do, I'm going to do the example on Keynote here because that's what you're playing right now. I'm just going to do 2 start positions, but you can extrapolate this to whatever. So your first goal is going to be place down your start positions where you want them. So I've got one here, and then I've got one at the famous 70 wave, wherever. Yeah, over here, I've got this start position here. Okay, once you're done with that, you're going to take note of your start positions. You are then going to do an entire no-clip run of the level with percentage. This is good to record as well, so you can check back. And you're going to check where your start positions actually lie in terms of 2.2 percentage. So I've got the recording here. This start position right here, this is where it was. It's at 19%, so I'm like, cool, that's at 19. And then I've got the one at the 70 wave. This is actually at 64. So I'm like, cool, I know what percentages I am looking out for. I need 19 and 64%. All right, so once you have those percentage numbers, we can now set up the UI for it. So we're just going to get a camera guide. Here, because it's 2.1, we know it's just going to be 1 times throughout, so that's not going to be a problem. I'm then going to get this counter object. I'm just going to put it into position, and I'm not going to assign it to anything yet. This is just so the alignment's all good. And then I'm just going to get a text block. And we know our percentages are going to be 19 and 64, which we got from the video. And then just for the sake of alignment, I'm also just going to add, well, not alignment, but just for it to look nice, I'll add a slash here. So that means when the runs happen, make sure you're moving these together. They just look nice, that kind of thing. Now we can assign this a item group. I'm going to give it 100. It'll look ugly. It'll work out fine, trust me. Then we're going to give a group to the guide trigger. And we're going to give a group to everything else that's going to be like part of the UI. So what's going to happen then is we're then going to chuck down a UI trigger, which is this little gear. And then the group ID is just going to be everything that's actually part of the UI. So that's going to be all the stuff up here. So that was group 1002. And then the UI target is going to be what it's centered around, which is 1001. That's the guide trigger. So that means when we play the level, we're going to see our UI in action. We can actually see it up here. It looks pretty awful at the moment, so we're going to have to rework it, but we can see it's at least working. So yeah, it's all about just tuning it until you get to a point where you're happy. I think I'm happy with that. I might actually go again, just half block to the left and revert that. It was just had to go up. So it'll look like this somewhere in the top corner. Now we can actually start configuring it. So what we're going to do is we are going to make a spawn loop to make this counter go up. So I'm just going to set that up now. Okay, so this is what your spawn loop is going to look like. I'm just going to explain everything. This spawn trigger up here, this is going to start the loop. It will then activate this spawn trigger. We see this is a spawn for 145. It's got nothing fancy on it. It's going to activate this spawn for 146 because this is group 145. This is all of our 146 stuff. This is the main loop. The reason why we've got this extra spawn trigger here is because we want to make sure that it doesn't instantly jump up to 1 on our counter, because there is still an element of 0% we have to deal with, so that's what this is accounting for. So, this spawn trigger, it's going to have a delay, in this case for Keynote, 1.185. Now, this one too also has 1.185. Where I've gotten this number, we take the length of the level, we convert it into seconds, we divide it by 100. That gives you 1.18. Now, how do we actually get this to go up? We've got this pickup trigger here. This is for item ID 100. I've made it 100 because this here is item ID 100. We set that earlier. Okay. I'm going to make it count 1. So that means every time this trigger gets triggered, it's going to go up by 1. We make it spawn trigger. We make it multi-trigger. I'm setting it for group 146 because it's under this spawn trigger here that's activating for 146. This extra trigger here, this isn't necessary, but I just like to do it. It just makes it so when it hits 100, it will then just turn this entire loop off. So it won't keep going up 101, 102, 103 as it goes on. Once you have that, this counter will be working. You set a start position right near the end of the level and test to make sure that it aligns to 100%. If it doesn't, you slightly change it. If it goes to 100% too early, slightly increase the delay. If it gets to 100% too late, slightly decrease the delay. In this case, it got to 100 a little bit too early, so I've increased the delay a little bit. But make sure that when you do this, is that when you go through your other start positions, make sure that this counter is going to line up with these. I've already sorted that out. We can see if I go in. This is for 64 as expected. This is for 19 as expected. And then this one, this is my start position to test if it was going to work. 100. All good. Also, we just saw there, it got a bit funky. Just a small change. We're just going to make it left align, and then we can just move that. All right, and now we're actually going to set up all of our the numbers for the start positions. So what we're going to do is we are going to assign groups to each individual number. So I'm just doing this by over 1,000 again. So this will be 105, this will be 106. We're going to toggle these off. We don't want them on at all. So this will be 1005, this will be 1006. So they're gone. We're going to go to where our start positions are, and we're going to do some configuring. So what we're going to do is directly on top of the start position, we are going to activate the group of the text, and we're going to make it touch trigger. I like to just make it bigger just to make sure we're not going to run into anything funny. And then we are also going to assign this trigger a group, which will be 1007. And what we're going to do here is right before it, we are going to have a 1007 toggle off. So what this is going to do is, say you have multiple start positions in a row, you start at this one, you have the 19% display. Once you get to the 64% start position, the toggle trigger for that percentage will be gone. So you won't get 19 and 64 stacked on top of each other. That's all it is for. We're going to do the same thing over at our second start position. Okay, so over at our second start position, we are going to do the exact same thing. And now everything should be working just fine. The text isn't aligned yet, but it should be displaying correctly. So here we've got nothing because there's no toggle trigger. Here we have the 64 up here, that's working just fine. And here we have the 19 working just fine. All right, so as you can see, if we are playing from 19 and we get to the start position, the 64 does not show up above the 19, so it's working. Now we just have to do the very last thing, which is just make sure everything is aligned. So we can go back up into our UI area and bang, just put it on top, and you're going to be all good. And that means we can see is that when we're playing from 64, we get the 64. When we're playing from 19, we get the 19. If we play from 0, we get nothing. And that's how you do everything. There will be a copy of this level that I worked on, just unlisted. The ID will be in description. So if you need to study it or do anything, it'll be all there. Everything will be on layer 100. So you can just go layer 100, find the objects that you need to care about, and you'll be all good. So yeah, goodbye.